Now, if we look at the research on multitasking, it's pretty devastating. What they've found in both giving tests and also looking inside the brain is that whatever you learn while multitasking is learned at a lower level. In other words, only a lower level of your brain is available to multitask because the higher level, this working memory, is involved in playing traffic cop going back and forth. So if you read a chapter while watching TV, for example, you're going to get mainly the surface features of what you're reading. You may be able to remember whether you read this sentence before, but you're not going to be able to integrate that sentence very well with the previous sentence or integrate it with what you already know. So you get information that's like rote memory, but it's not generalizable and it's not that useful. If you do two things at once, what you're doing is actually powering down your brain. You're dimming your bulb, so to speak. You're lowering your workable IQ. So it's like you're using your left hand for a task when you're right-handed. So you're really handicapping yourself if you try to do work while you're trying to do something else. And another interesting thing is that practice doesn't seem to work. You probably think that people who multitask a lot are good at it. They get better and better as they try. But an interesting study out of Stanford last year asked college students how much they multitasked. And then they took a group of the heaviest multitaskers and a group of the most infrequent multitaskers and gave them 3 tasks that involved multitasking. And to their shock, heavy multitaskers did significantly worse on all 3 tasks. Now, that leads to the question, why do people multitask if they're not good at it? We don't know precisely, but I think one reason is it's easy to do, not necessarily effective. And the second thing is people may feel bored with the one task, so they want to add another task to it. But remember, if you do multitask because you're bored, what you're doing, because it takes so much longer, is you're dragging out the agony of this boredom. So you'd be much better off doing this thing with a single focus and then doing the fun thing. You'd do it faster and you'd enjoy the fun thing more too. Okay. So I'm not telling you you shouldn't multitask. I'm sure most of you have this as a big habit. But I do suggest that you ask yourself these 4 questions before you decide to multitask. Number 1, do I want to dumb down my brain for this? Number 2, do I want to spend more time than necessary on this? Number 3, do I want to have very little memory for what I've just done? And number 4, do I want to do a poorer job? If you can say yes to all 4 of these questions, then it's time to multitask.